Good morning. Welcome to the Friday Biz Thing with Phil Wicks and Craig Connolly. And how are you today, Phil?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. Yeah, big week this week, and looks like there's been a lot going on down at BSP too. Looking by all the emails they're going back and forth, so that's good to see. But it's Friday, and this Friday we've got a little bit of a different format, and we've had some people ask some questions. So, by the way, if you do want any questions answered, you can email those through to info@bspnz.co.nz. And those will go into Phil and he'll coordinate. So we've got a couple of questions today. We're not going to share some hot tips. We're just going to answer the questions, or Phil's going to answer these questions. So we will just jump straight into it, Phil. So I'll bring the first question up.
This comes from Paul. I won't, for privacy reasons, won't say his last name, but Paul owns an engineering shop in Wellington, and he sent this email basically saying that he has doubled his business, doubled his turnover in the last 5 years. So the business has obviously grown. He's gone from 5 to 9 staff, but he also feels like he's working around 70 hours a week. He's doing a lot of work in the weekend and at night doing all his admin. He feels like he's lost control of his staff. He's happy that he's got more turnover, but he's not necessarily earning any more profit. And I think the biggest thing, he feels like he's got no life outside work. So now this is actually really accounts for about 50% of our business. There's probably businesses that are very much like this, especially in the last 5 years, with the economy being fairly good and growth being fairly good for a lot of businesses.
Yeah.
A lot of the issues that they're having are sort of like growth problems.
Right.
Around, and it sort of relates a little bit back to what we talked about last week with strategy. And so this is a really common problem, and it reminds me a lot of a business that I've been working with for a little while. It's almost identical to the issues that they've had. So I can sort of take Paul through this a little bit quite well, I think. Paul, one of the first things I'd get you to do is to write down everything that you do in your business. Write down all the jobs that you do, no matter how small, how big or how small. And that might be everything from sort of doing your admin, looking after staff, even doing the dishes in the smoker room. Whatever you do, I want you to write it all down. And then I want you to go through that list and cross off all the things that nobody else could do apart from you. And I think you'll get a little bit of a shock, because I think what you'll find is that probably about two-thirds of that list somebody else could be doing. One of the first things I think you should look at, from what I gather from your email, it sounds like you do all the admin, and just looking at your staff, I'd say your business is probably gone from a 400-500K business to a $900 million business. And at that size, you need an admin person. And a lot of business owners initially will look at an admin as a sort of a wasted expense, in the sense that they can't quite see how they can make money from the admin, but they can actually make significant money from the admin. And it's actually a little bit of a no-brainer when you think, Paul, of how much your hours are worth. I mean, you're probably worth, $150, $200 an hour, and you're spending a whole lot of time doing something that you could pay somebody $20 to $25 an hour to do. And possibly they could probably do it better. And so that'd be one of the first things I'd look at, is getting an admin to do a lot of your admin work, and probably a few other little bits and pieces around the business. And that those hours that you save, you can start putting that into managing your staff better. You said you had some problems with your staff. Maybe looking at some systems and processes in regards to your workshop, getting some efficiencies in your workshop, just spending a little bit more time on sort of managing those key aspects of your business that you feel like you've maybe lost. If you do that within 2 or 3 months, you'll wonder how you probably got on without an admin. But that will make a significant difference just doing that. And then I think one of the things you also want to look at is probably the leadership within your organisation. Who's there that can start making their way towards being maybe a second in charge, a 2IC type of person, because you obviously need some help around sort of managing the business. And again, it's a pretty common mistake is that you're trying to do everything yourself. So what you want to do is actually start sort of looking at maybe somebody who you think's got leadership potential and start to bring them through your business. If there's nobody that you think has got that potential, then you might want to look at bringing somebody into your business. You need to sort of really look at where your hours are best spent and where you can best make the impact yourself on the business. And as we talked about last week, start spending a little bit of time on strategy. Yours is a pretty common problem, but those two things will really go a long way to helping your issue.
Oh, that's a fantastic tip. I was about to say that's a very difficult question to start our first question off for our session here, but obviously it's something you deal with all the time, and it was so that's two great tips there for Paul and his engineering business. That's awesome. So we'll bring the next one up, and the next one is from Kasey. Now, Kasey has a good idea for a business, and she's been told there is funding available for startups. Phil, so she's asking what funding is available and how do I go about getting it?
Okay, gosh, if I had $1 for every time I asked this question. There is funding available for small businesses. I think people often get the wrong idea of how that actually works. I think they think if they've got a good business idea that somebody's just sort of ready to dip into their pockets to help bring it to fruition, and it doesn't sort of work that way. There are a number of funding avenues. There is the government, New Zealand Trade and Enterprise, and through the Original Business Partner Network. I mean, they do a fantastic job supporting small businesses throughout New Zealand, but also in regards to export as well. And then there's other avenues such as angel investing and that sort of thing. But even with those sorts of things, what they're really looking for is probably more of a business that's actually started and is actually starting to get underway, and is actually proven a little bit of maybe proven that the product is actually working or the prototype's working. Before they actually do anything, a lot of people that ask for funding haven't got their businesses even registered, and so I think that's something to be aware of. You need to be able to show to people that you're willing to sort of put some effort and potentially some money into it yourself. And that's unless it's some sort of really, really brilliant idea, then normally that the process is that you've got to sort of prove yourself a little bit first before anybody's actually willing to invest. In regards to New Zealand Trade and Enterprise, they do offer funding, capability voucher funding, and that is to help businesses use expertise that they may not have already in their business for training purposes and for education. And we have our business, like ourselves, is registered with NZTE, so we facilitate a lot of those capability vouchers around the country as well. So there is funding available for that. And there's also, if a business has got something that's really innovative and they need help taking that to the next level or taking it to export, again, I would definitely recommend talking to the people at New Zealand Trade and Enterprise to help them with that. But yes, it's not just a matter of I've got a great idea, can you give me some money? So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. So just from your experience with people doing that, so if they're not actually trading and they don't have a business, they've just got a great idea, is there much chance of getting funding, or is it are they better off just to really start the business off and get it moving first and prove it?
Yeah, there's very little chance.
Okay.
To be perfectly honest, I mean they're probably better off. Like I said, if it was something that's really revolutionary, then there would be somebody obviously that would probably definitely help them. If they've got a pretty good idea or a good idea for a business, then what I'd suggest is that they probably shouldn't be starting a business anyway without some sort of money in the bank. They need to sort of be able to invest into their business, and it is a bit of a common mistake that a lot of businesses start off being underfunded to begin with. But once they get the business going, then there's some real avenues. Where we come in a lot with funding is businesses that want to go to that next level, and then that is where the government really, with the New Zealand Capability Voucher Fund, NZTE, the capability vouchers that work with the regional business partners, that's where that works really, really well, because they bring expertise into the business to help it get to that next level. They help pay for that. And it's very easily rewarded from the government's point of view, because the business will grow and it will obviously pay more tax and employ more people. So it's a real win-win. And like I said, there is also quite a lot of help given to businesses that are wanting to export or have a good export potential, or if they've got some sort of innovative product or something like that. There's also avenues around for funding for that too.
Okay.
Well, it is help yourself. Show that you can actually put some effort into it yourself first. And it also applies to angel investors as well. They'll come in at the next level. They won't come in usually right at the beginning.
Okay, well, just a reminder for people, this is the Friday Biz Thing. Every Friday, Phil and myself share a hot tip for the week or answer questions. So if you'd like any question answered, anything to do with marketing or business, please email info@bspnz.co.nz. Now, BSP, we say it's BSPLIVE. We refer to BSP a lot. BSP stands for Business Success Partners. It's just a shortened way of saying it. So, well, that's great, Phil. I hope you have a fabulous weekend. Some great.
Can I just say one thing there? If Paul wants to get in touch with us, just so I can explain what I've been talking about in a little bit more detail, because I feel like he actually has quite a serious problem. I'll be willing to if he just wants to go on our website, get our 0800 number and give me a call. I'll definitely have a chat to him.
Right. Okay. Very good. So the website is businesssuccesspartners.co.nz. So that's great. Okay, Phil. Well, thank you for that. Have a great weekend, and I will look forward to seeing you again next Friday. I'm really enjoying these, and we're getting a little bit of feedback, getting a few questions. So we're on a roll.
Right. Yeah, really cool. You have a good weekend too, mate. Okay.
I will.
And everybody else that's out there. Okay. Catch you.
We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.